गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी शोदानन्दन व्रज Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, नाम संकीर्तन की श्री रूपाल की I think I'll do a zoom from here so everybody can see the slides. Okay? Internet I have.
Prabhuji, can you allow me to share this
Can you allow me to share the screen?
screen share?
Screen share. Oh, you have it.
I have to put this. Hare Krishna. So we can have conversations later also. So welcome dear devotees.
Welcome dear devotees.
Unmute also.
Unmute also, it's fine.
Hare Krishna.
So now Janmashtami is around the corner. Prabhuji, can you show the was I should not join? Oh, leave the audio. So mute myself. Okay. All right. Now it's okay. Yeah. Thank you. Nice. So now Janmashtami is around the corner. So for next few weeks we'll be discussing from Krishna katha from Janmashtami about so to prepare ourselves for Janmashtami. Actually, before that, some days back, somebody was asking me they want to meet a nice astrologer. So there were so many problems going in the life, completely out of control. So they want to have a contact of some good astrologer so they can at least understand what is going on and how to actually rectify the problems in the life. So now today morning we were having a nice kirtan here and all the devotees here were singing and jumping and dancing. So Srila Prabhupada once said that if you just clap in the kirtan, so all the lines of your karma are wiped off. So you don't need any astrologer. So just by singing and dancing and chanting here for 15-20 minutes and jumping high, jumping left and right. So these guys who are here, they don't need any astrologer to predict their future. Their future is taken care of by Krishna. Only those who are not devotees and they are always anxious and anxiety that what's going to happen in the future. My money, my child, my wife, my wealth, my car, my house, my job, this and this and this and this and this and gone. So those guys need astrologer. But if you just come here, just clap, sing, chant and dance. So all the lines of karma, good or bad karma, they are wiped off. And then Krishna will take care of us. And it will be all auspicious. So we don't have to actually look in our life for some astrologer or somebody like that. So just chant Hare Krishna and everything will be taken care of. So that's what I remembered when I saw all the devotees nicely singing, jumping and chanting here. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So today on the start of our Janmashtami series, so we'll be discussing about the reasons for the Lord Krishna's appearance, that why he actually appears, what is the need for Krishna to appear in this material world. And then we will know something about the birth of Lord Krishna, that how uncommon is the birth of Lord Krishna, unlike the birth of deconditioned souls. And if the time permits, we'll know about some of the truths regarding the Lord Krishna and the eventual result. So first we'll see reason for Lord Krishna's appearance. So basically we should try to understand why he comes in the first place. So what is Krishna is happy there in Goloka Vrindavan, enjoying with all the devotees. So what is the need for Krishna to come here in this material world? And what is his business and what his activities are? Actually, there is a very important verse in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 9. It says, Janma karma cha me devyam, evam yo veti tattvataha, tyaktva deham punarjanma, naeti mameti sakontaya. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, Arjuna. So this is a very, very important verse. So Krishna is only saying to actually go back to Godhead, to get free from the cycle of birth and death. All we need to understand is the birth and activities of Krishna. We don't have to do any difficult processes like Ashtanga Yoga or difficult austerities like this vrata or that vrata. What Krishna is only saying, you just understand that my birth and my activities are transcendental. Just by this understanding, you will be freed from the cycle of birth and death, and you will go back to Godhead. So you see, the process is actually very simple. Krishna, only in one verse he summarized how we can actually get free from all the miseries of life and attain eternal happiness in the association of Krishna, just by understanding Janma Karma. Janma means birth, Karma means activities, Chame Divyam, transcendental. So once we understand the transcendental nature of birth and activities of Krishna, we are then eligible to go back to Godhead. No other conditions are required, like no difficult austerities, no big upavas or fast or all these things, and no Ashtanga Yoga, no difficult meditation. Only thing is required is just understanding that Krishna's activities are not of this world, they are different from us and they are transcendental. And Krishna says the result also. Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. When you tyaktva deham, when you give up the body, so you don't take a birth again. And then what? He says, mameti, you come to me. So Krishna gives a full result. He actually does not say that you will just attain moksha and merge into Brahman or impersonal Brahman, something like that. He says that he gives a final result. You will come to me. So there should be no confusion about the process of Krishna consciousness. So we all know these two important verses in the Bhagavad Gita, which actually describes the why Krishna comes into this material world. So we all know, I think everybody remembers this from childhood only. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam dharmasya tadatmanam srajamyaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice or descendant of Bharata and a predominant rise of religion, at that time I descend myself. And the next verse, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chatushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to reestablish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. So these two verses actually summarizes the whole purpose of Lord Krishna's appearance. So we'll try to understand that. So now, it's not just that Krishna only comes. So we see Lord Ram came, Narsimha Dev, Vamana Dev, so many incarnations of Krishna comes. So what is the purpose of the incarnation? So the whole purpose of the mission of incarnations is to arouse Krishna consciousness everywhere. See, we are all sons of Krishna. So Krishna cannot see us suffering here in the cycle of birth and death. He's very compassionate and he's very merciful. So Krishna personally comes, Krishna's expansions comes, his incarnations comes, his devotees like Srila Prabhupada, they come again and again, just to give us a message that this is not our home. Our home is with Krishna. So this Krishna speaks Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna has spoken so many Vedas and Puranas in the form of Srila Vyasadeva. So many Itihas, Mahabharata, Vedanta Sutra, Srimad Bhagavatam. If we see, Krishna does everything he can to just arouse an intelligence in us that this is not the place that we should be living. So this dukkhalayam ashashvatam, that's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So material world is the place of misery and unhappiness. Dukkhalayam and ashashvatam is a temporary. Here we cannot be happy. So you please come to me, please come to me, please come to me. So any incarnation which comes, if we see any incarnation, for example, so the whole purpose of incarnation is to preach God consciousness. He may come himself in form of Krishna. He may come in incarnations like Lord Ram, Lord Parshuram, or Lord Vamanade, Matsya Avatar, Kurma Avatar. Any incarnation it can happen. But the whole purpose of all the incarnation is to actually teach us that we have to go back to God. The same, for example, not only Krishna, his representatives comes, like Srila Prabhupada came, and Jesus Christ came. Jesus Christ is a pure Vaishnava. He preached God consciousness in the part of the world where there was God consciousness was practically absent. And he preached God consciousness there. And for that small preaching for 2-3 years, he was crucified. So he preached in a very difficult era. So not only just Krishna comes, his representatives also come, and they take very hardships. So we know the hardships for Srila Prabhupada, what kind of hardships he has taken to preach Krishna consciousness in the West. So the whole purpose of incarnations and the whole purpose of Krishna sending his representatives in the form of sons or his devotees to just preach Krishna consciousness. Now, there are two main reasons for the Lord Krishna's appearance. There are external reasons and there are internal reasons. And the same reasons equally apply for Lord Chaitanya as well. We'll see that in very brief. So, externally, as we saw, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata apyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyam. So, whenever there is a decline in the religion's practices or religious principles, I advent. That's what Krishna says. And internal reasons we'll see for his own sweet enjoyment and pleasure of devotees. So now the external reason, so this is from the purport of the same verse 4.7 where Krishna says, so you all can see the screen, right? He therefore appears by his own will whenever there is a predominance of irreligiosity and disappearance of true religion. Now we'll see what actually is the religion. There is so much confusion and doubt about what is a religion because there are so many religions around, so nobody knows what is the religion actually is. So this is also from the purport. Principles of religion are laid down in the Vedas, and any discrepancy in the matter of properly executing the rules of the Vedas makes us irreligious. In the Bhagavatam, it is said that such principles are the laws of Lord. Only the Lord can manufacture a system of religion. The Vedas are also accepted as originally spoken by Lord himself to Brahma from within his heart. Therefore, the principles of dharma or religion are the direct orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, dharmam to Shakshat Bhagavad Pranita. These principles are clearly indicated throughout the Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of the Vedas is to establish such principles under the order of Supreme Lord, and the Lord directly orders at the end of the Gita that the highest principle of religion is to surrender unto him only and nothing more. The Vedic principles push one towards complete surrender unto him, and whenever such principles are disturbed by the demoniac, the Lord appears. So here we see, we got a basic understanding of what religion actually is. If you see, we have so many different religions in the world today. Everybody professing their own path. But the main important point to understand is the principles of religion can only be established by Lord. No human being can establish the principles of religion. That's a very important point. So if we see some big Swami comes and say, I have started a new religion. So immediately we can discard as a bogus. Because Krishna here says, this is by Lord Yamraj, Dharmam tu Shakshat Bhagavat Pranitam. But religion is actually enacted by the Supreme Lord Himself. And they are actually expanded by the pure representatives of the Lord. But the religion is actually we can say created by the Lord Himself. He is the creator of the religion. Nobody, no human being contaminated by the three modes of material nature can actually create a principles of religion. Now, now the next question arises, now what actually is the religion then? Krishna is saying, I am creating the religion. So what is the religion? So Krishna is actually summarized that in the end of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhya mokshayishyami ma shucha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender into me. I will give you protection from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So this, here what the Srila Prabhupada says, that the highest principle of religion is to surrender into Him only and nothing more. So the whole principle of religion is actually love of God, love of Krishna. So any process of religion with the essence of love of God, or which is actually taking you to the platform of love of God, can be said to be a genuine process of religion, and it can be followed. But if any process of religion which is against the principle of love of Krishna, against the principle of love of God, against the principle of surrender into Lord, that is not a bona fide religion. So, and practically if you see, right, all world religions in the day, if anybody asks somebody, are you religious? So he will say, definitely I am religious. I go to all the temples. And what do? I go to temples. God, please give me this. Devta, please give me this. Please give me that. My exams is happening. My marriage is not happening. I'm not well. I am sick. So in the name of religion, we are actually treating God as an order supplier. That I am the master. God is Krishna is a servant. You please supply everything what I want. So actually, there is a very interesting song which my Srila Gurudev sings often. I'll also sing. Give me a Cadillac, a brand new Cadillac, replete with Michelin tires. Give my wife a new silk sari. Give my son a Harvard education. Give me a house by the sea. Om Jai Jagadish Hare. so you see, this is the definition of modern day religion. So if my desires are fulfilled by God or any demigod, then I accept the religion, else I reject it. And practically it's true for all religion, not only Hindu, Christian, everywhere practically, right? If you see 95% of the people, they are religious only because they want something from a God or from demigods like Ganesh or Lord Shiva or anybody. But nobody understands the true purpose of religion, which Krishna says, just surrender into me. Abandon all varieties of these concocted religious systems. Don't worry about that, my job, my health, or this. Just give up everything and just surrender into me. And then I will take care of you. So if this principle is followed, so this is a true religious principle. And interestingly, if you see, right, in all the modern day religions like Christianity, for example, so the essence of religion is the same. There Jesus Christ once told, Lord, not my will, but thy will be done. Where Jesus Christ saying, no, not my will, but what you want, that should be done. That will be done. See, so that's what here Krishna is saying, just abandon everything and come to me. And Jesus Christ says, yes, God, not my will, but your will be done. So as we see, all the true essence of all the religious systems is actually same, which is surrender to Krishna, surrender to God, and love of God. And same principles can be found in the Quran as well. But the problem is because of too much material attachment, too much desire for sense gratification, the core purpose of religion is lost. Even in India, in Hindu religion, for example, in Christianity, in Muslim, all the religions, the essence is same, which is love of God, but that essence has been covered because everybody wants to enjoy their own senses. So that's what Krishna says here. So whenever there is a discrepancy in the execution of true religion, whenever Krishna sees that now the purpose of religion is getting lost, then I come myself, or I send my representatives to reenact the principles of religion. So that's the meaning of yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. So dharmasya means religion, and glanir means the negligence. So whenever the negligence of the true religious principles happens, whenever the true religious principles are not followed, at that time I come. So now we understand what is the purpose of Krishna. And so the purpose of Krishna is to not establish the pseudo religions, like we discussed, which is based on our own enjoyment. But whenever Krishna sees the essence of religion is getting lost, like by following the principles of religion, people won't come to path of surrendering unto me. So then Krishna comes, or his representative comes. So that's the purpose of Krishna's incarnation, and that is the meaning of that verse. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata, and dharma means sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. So that is the definition of the highest principle of religion. And if you read from Prabhupada books, almost in every canto, in majority of purport, Srila Prabhupada always emphasizes this point, that the highest principle of religion is to surrender into Krishna. So there should be no confusion to anybody about this. Now, other thing is, in each and every incarnation, he speaks as much about religion as can be understood by the particular people under their particular circumstances. So, but the mission is the same, to lead people to God consciousness and obedience to the principles of religion. Sometimes he descends personally, and sometimes he sends his bona fide representatives in the form of his son or servant, or himself in some disguised form. In all the incarnations of Lord, therefore, the same principles are taught, but they appear to be higher and lower in varied circumstances. Take again, for example, Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Now, if we see, the intellectual level of Arjuna was very, very high. He understood whole Bhagavad Gita in less than 1 hour. And it takes whole life for us to not understand even one verse of Bhagavad Gita. So that is the difference in our intelligence and Arjuna's intelligence. So what Krishna explained to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita are very high level of high principles of religion, very deep principles of religion. So that's why if we are fortunate to understand Bhagavad Gita from Srila Prabhupada purports, so then we can understand, then the Bhagavad Gita is sufficient to deliver us and take us back to home, back to God. On the other hand, we see that Jesus Christ spoke to the people of Israel only the basic principles of religion which they can understand. So because they were kind of a very aboriginal people at the time, because here Prabhupada says, in each and every incarnation, he speaks as much as about religion as can be understood by the particular people. So Krishna couldn't have spoken Bhagavad Gita at that time. So Jesus Christ himself said, I have only given you very brief. There is much more to say, but I cannot speak because you won't understand. So that is the difference. So as much as could be understood by the people of a particular country, particular time, that much principles of religion are spoken by God or his representatives. But in that sense, we are very fortunate that Bhagavad Gita was spoken to Arjuna, who was very highly intellectual, much more intelligent than us. So Krishna can expand and explain very deep principles of religion, not only just superficial principles of religion. So that's why we see Bhagavad Gita, the 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita contains very deep principles of religion. So we understood the whole purpose of the incarnation is to actually arouse Krishna consciousness everywhere. Now, let's see what the internal reasons are for Krishna to appear and also for Lord Chaitanya to appear. So similarly for the Lord Chaitanya's appearance, Lord Chaitanya is not different from Krishna. So external reasons for the Lord Chaitanya's appearance also was same, to establish the Yuga Dharma of chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, to re-establish the principles of religion. So he established the principles of chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra can take you back to Godhead. So that's the Yuga Dharma for Kali Yuga. But we know from Chaitanya Charitamrita, there are internal reasons also for Lord Chaitanya's appearance. So similarly, there are internal reasons for Lord Krishna's appearance also. Now, so this I have taken internal reasons from the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela chapter 4, where Krishna himself speaks about the internal reasons why he appears on this planet. So we'll read, there are quite a few verses, but they're very interesting verses. But next one says, the scriptures proclaim that The Lord Krishna previously descended to take away the burden of the earth. To take away this burden, however, is not the work of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The maintainer, Lord Vishnu, is the one who protects the universe. So we see whenever there is a discrepancy on the religious principle, or there are too many demonic people on the earth or anywhere, so Krishna comes and kills. And so we saw in Krishna Leela, right? Krishna killed so many demons. And at the end, there was a battle of Kurukshetra. All the demonic kings were vanquished. So, but here Krishna says, this is not my main purpose. Even actually, take an example for Hiranyakashipu and Ravan. Just Maya's one blink of eye is sufficient to kill them. Hiranyakashipu or Ravan. Krishna does not have to come personally in the form of Narsimha Dev or in the form of Lord Ram to kill demons like Hiranyakashipu and demons like Ravan. So only Maya, just a blink of the eye can kill them. So it was an external reason for Krishna's Lord Narsimha Dev's appearance to kill Hiranyakashipu. But the actual reason was the pleasure of Prahlad Maharaj, the protection of Prahlad Maharaj. And later we see, the Krishna did not came to kill Kamsa. He could have been killed very easily by Maya or any other agents of Krishna. Krishna came to give protection to the Devaki. So we see there are different reasons for the Krishna's appearance. Many of the external reasons, he doesn't have to personally come. But we also do multitasking, right? Many things at once. So when Krishna comes for internal reasons, he says, okay, let me take care of all external reasons also at the same time. So here it says, to take away this burden, however, is not the work of Supreme Personality of Godhead. The maintainer, Lord Vishnu, is the one who protects the universe. But the time to lift the burden of the world mixed with the time for the Lord Krishna's incarnation. So as we discussed, when Krishna wanted to appear, at that time the burden was also there. So he thought, I can do many things in one attempt. Now, when the complete Supreme Personality of Godhead descends, all other incarnations of the Lord meet together with him. Lord Narayana, the four primary expansions, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, Matsya, and other Leela incarnations, the Yugavatars, the Manvantara incarnations, and as many other incarnations as there are, all descend in the body of Lord Krishna. In this way, the complete Supreme Lord Krishna himself appears. So when Krishna comes, all these incarnations like Lord Ram, Lord Narsimhadev, Yugavataras, Manvantara Avataras, they all come in the body of Krishna also. At that time, therefore, Lord Vishnu is present in the body of Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna kills the demons through him. Thus, killing of the demons is but the secondary work. Now Krishna says this, I shall now speak of the main reason for Lord's incarnation. The Lord's desire to appear was born from two reasons. The Lord wanted to taste the sweet essence of the mellows of love of God, and he wanted to propagate devotional service in the world on the platform of spontaneous attraction. Thus, he is known as supremely jubilant and as the most merciful of all. So now we are actually starting to read the internal reasons for the Krishna's appearance. So this is the first verse which talks about internal reasons. So first in the text 14 we saw the killing of demons is just a secondary work. So that's not a primary reason for the Krishna's appearance, killing of demons, like all Putana and Kamsa, all the demons. That's just a secondary work. It just happens incidentally. The Lord desires to appear because the Lord wants to taste the mellows of the love of God with the devotees. He wants to taste the rasa of devotional service with his devotees only, and to exhibit those rasas to exhibit those mellows to the world on the platform of spontaneous attraction. Thus, he is known as supremely jubilant and the most merciful of all. The Lord Krishna thought, all the universe is filled with the conception of my majesty, but love weakened by that sense of majesty does not satisfy me. If one regards me as the Supreme Lord and himself as a subordinate, I do not become subservient to his love, nor can it control me. So Krishna is saying, if you see, everybody worships Krishna in awe and reverence, like the Lord of Vaikuntha, and he's a great Lord, and everybody is doing a big worship of Lord Krishna in awe and reverence as per this. That's also a very honest way of worshipping Krishna. So it's not that we should not be doing that worship and we stop our worshipping in the temple here. So, but what Krishna is saying that all the universe is filled with the conception of my majesty. Now take this example. Now there was one Prime Minister of England, Glasgow. I think I forgot his original name. So he was a Prime Minister of England, And one big personality came to meet him. And the secretary told him, "Oh, you wait outside, he's busy. The Prime Minister is busy inside the room. So you cannot go inside, you please wait outside." He's waiting and waiting. 1 hour passed, 1.5 hour passed, 2 hour passed. He's thinking, what kind of thing the Prime Minister is doing? So I am such an important personality, he does not have time to meet me. What is he doing inside? So he then peeked through that peephole. His room's hole is there, right? A keyhole. He saw what's happening inside. And then what he sees, the Prime Minister of England was lying on his knees and the grandson on his back, and he's doing ghoda ghoda. So he's actually playing with his grandson. He's not concerned about the governance of England at that point of time. He's so much absorbed in his playing with his grandson. The grandson is giving him orders. Grandfather, do this, grandfather, do that. At that time, he's not though he's in the post of a Prime Minister of England, but he's not enjoying that post as much as he's enjoying that interaction, loving affection with his grandchildren. So similarly, when Krishna is worshipped as the Lord of Vaikuntha, with all majesty and almighty, he's happy, but he's not that happy. He doesn't get that happiness in that relationship when we worship Krishna in awe and reverence. So that's what he's saying, Krishna here. If one regards me as the Supreme Lord and himself as a subordinate, I do not become subservient to his love, nor can it control me. In whatever transcendental mellow my devotee worships me, I reciprocate with him. That is my natural behavior. In whatever way my devotees surrender into me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects of Sanatprata. Now here is important. If one cherishes pure loving devotion to me, thinking of me as his son, his friend, or his beloved, regarding himself as great, and considering me as his equal or inferior, I become subordinate to him. Devotional service rendered to me by my living beings revives their eternal life. Oh, my dear damsels of Vraja, your affection of me is your good fortune, for it is the only means by which you have obtained my favor. So in the text 21-22, Krishna says, Krishna enjoys being a chastised son of Mother Yashoda. So when Mother Yashoda takes sticks and runs behind Krishna and trying to chastise Krishna, Krishna enjoys that relationship much more than the hymns of the Vedas. So where the great sages and saints are glorifying Krishna by the topmost verses in the Vedas, but he's enjoying that being chastised by Mother Yashoda. So, and if you see in that kind of pure love of Mother Yashoda towards Krishna, Krishna is completely controlled by Mother Yashoda. And that control is not superficial. Though he is a supreme personality of Godhead, he completely comes under the control of his devotees. So there are so many examples we see in the initial chapters of Krishna book. So Mother Yashoda says to Krishna, my dear Krishna, take these slippers of Nanda Maharaj and give it to Nanda Maharaj. And obviously, Krishna was very, very small boy at that time. And the Nanda Maharaj was a big personality. So he took his wooden slippers and just going and giving it to Nanda Maharaj. So this kind of relationship, this kind of pure devotional exchange with the devotees, it's what actually Krishna wants to taste and gets the maximum enjoyment of this kind of relationship. So we see all the cowherd boys of Krishna, they are climbing on the shoulder of Krishna. They don't treat Krishna as a supreme personality of Godhead. They just treat Krishna as their friend whom they can play with and actually they can control. And then we see the damsels of Vraja gopis, they gave everything in the service of Krishna. So this kind of loving relationship with the devotees in Dasyarsa, Sakya, Vatsalya and Madhurya Prem, these mellows are the one which actually attracts Krishna too much. And Krishna becomes subordinate. We actually see this in the Chaitanya Leela also. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was completely subordinate to the desire of his devotees. He says, I am not independent. I cannot do anything. This body is yours. You do whatever you want to do. I cannot just do anything of my own sweet will. Even though he is a supremely independent, supreme personality of Godhead, he is saying, I am completely controlled by you. I cannot do anything. And then his devotees decide what Lord Chaitanya has to do. Or here in this case, Krishna has to do. So here we see mother sometimes binds me as her son. She nourishes and protects me, thinking me utterly helpless. My friends climb on my shoulders in pure friendship, saying, "What kind of big man are you? You and I are equal." If my beloved consort, means gopis, reproaches me in a sulky mood, that steals my mind from the reverent hymns of the Vedas. Taking these pure devotees with me, I shall descend and sport in various wonderful ways, unknown even in Vaikuntha. I shall broadcast such pastimes by which even I am amazed. So that's what Krishna is saying here. Taking these pure devotees with me, he does not come alone. All the devotees like Nanda Maharaj, Krishna Mata, all the cowherd friends, trees and plants, whole of the Golok Vrindavan comes with Krishna to be part of his pastimes. Krishna says, taking these pure devotees with me, I shall descend and sport in various wonderful ways unknown even in Vaikuntha. I shall broadcast such pastimes by which even I am amazed. The influence of Yoga Maya will inspire the gopis with the sentiment that I am their paramour. Neither the gopis nor I shall notice this, for our minds will always be entranced by one another's beauty and qualities. More? Okay. Pure attachment will unite us even at the expense of moral and religious duties. Destiny will sometimes bring us together and sometimes separate us. I shall taste the essence of all the rasas, and in this way I shall favor all the devotees. Then by hearing about the pure love of the residents of Vrindavan, devotees will worship me on the path of spontaneous love, abandoning all rituals of religiosity and fruitivity. So the Krishna comes to demonstrate his pastimes in Vrindavan, so that by hearing of those pastimes, we also get attracted by those pastimes. And eventually, by following the process given to us by Srila Prabhupada, someday by Krishna's mercy, we can also reach that platform of spontaneous love of God. So the broadcast of the spontaneous love of God, like the love which Lord experiences with Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, all his friends, all the gopis, so that is the internal reason for demonstration of that love is the internal reason. So Krishna says, my worship in Vaikuntha is okay, but this is the kind of worship of Yashoda Mata, worship of Nanda Maharaj, worship of gopis. This is the worship which actually controls me completely. I completely come under the control of such love. Actually, Mayavadi says, I want to become God. I want to become God. I am God. But now you see, by following the path of pure devotion, we become greater than God because we can control God. See, Mother Yashoda completely controlled God. All the gopis were completely controlling God. So by becoming a pure devotee of Krishna, we don't become God. We become controllers of God only. So this is the internal reason of Krishna's appearance, to broadcast the loving affairs with his internal devotees, so that we can actually get attracted towards these pastimes of Krishna. So Krishna manifests his eternal human-like form and performs his pastimes to show mercy to devotees. Having heard such pastimes, one should engage in service to him. So this is the internal reason for the appearance of Krishna, to actually demonstrate the pastimes of Vrindavan, the spontaneous love which he exchanges with his devotees in Vrindavan. So we can also become attracted towards such pure devotion to Krishna. And then by following the principles given to us by Srila Prabhupada, so we can also eventually elevate us to that platform. So this is the internal reason for the appearance of Krishna. So this is from the Bhagavad Gita 4.8 purport, where Srila Prabhupada summarizes the internal reason. There are various kinds of incarnations, such as Purusha Avtaras, Guna Avtaras, Lila Avtaras, Shakti-Avesh Avtaras, Manvantara Avtaras, and Yuga Avtaras, all appearing on schedule all over the universe. But the Lord Krishna is the primeval Lord, the fountainhead of all Avtaras. Lord Sri Krishna descends for the specific purpose of mitigating the anxieties of the pure devotees who are very anxious to see him in his original Vrindavan pastimes. Therefore, the prime purpose of Krishna avatar is to satisfy his unalloyed devotees. So this is the prime purpose of Krishna's incarnation, to satisfy his unalloyed devotees and to demonstrate his pastimes. And while doing that, he does a lot of other things like killing the demons, reestablishing the principles of religion. All these external things also he does. But this is the core purpose. Paritranaya sadhuna. So we saw that verse, right? Paritranaya sadhuna. So that is a core purpose. And then Vinashaya cha Dushkratam, that's the secondary purpose. Now there are other reasons also. So actually, I will not read word by word here. So this again from Krishna book. Actually, what happens is if Krishna does not appear personally and shows his transcendental form of beauty, then there will be a lot of speculation about Krishna's form. Krishna is like this, Krishna is like that. Because we see, right, many Westerners think God to be the old person with big white bird. Because they have not seen the form of God only. And the scriptures don't tell about the form of God in detail. So, unless Krishna comes and shows his real form, there will be all speculation about Krishna's form. Mayavadis will say there is no form. Other devotees will say, no, form is like this, form is like that. He's like me. I am Krishna. So you see, we see Brahma Samhita. Brahma Samhita actually describes the form of Krishna in very, very minute detail. And when Krishna comes, so Lord Brahma is a pure devotee of Krishna, and the knowledge which he has presented in Brahma Samhita is actually not just some theory knowledge, is actually his realized knowledge. What he has actually realized, and then he has actually put down the Brahma Samhita. So what we see from Brahma Samhita, the descriptions of Lord in the Brahma Samhita, they are actually the true descriptions of the forms of Krishna. So one more reason of Krishna's appearance is to actually just stop, to put a stop of all this mental speculation about the form of Krishna. So people will see this is Krishna, this is the form of Krishna, and so there won't be any speculation. So we see Lord Brahma presents the knowledge of Krishna in Brahma Samhita. The Brahma Samhita is Vijnanam as realized by Brahma's transcendental experience, and in that way, he presented the form and the past tense of Krishna transcendental abode. So we know this verse, Venum Kwanantama Ravinda Dalayataksham Barhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpakotika Maniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute with blooming eyes, like lotus petals with a head decked with peacock's feather, with the figure of the beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness, charming million of cupids. So this verse actually gives us a hint about the Lord Krishna's form. And when Krishna comes, he depicts the same original form. So that's what we understand, the knowledge presented by the great acharyas like Lord Brahma in the prayers like Brahma Samhita. From these scriptures we understand the form of Krishna. And otherwise, if Krishna wouldn't have come and is to demonstrate his real form, then many people wouldn't have believed about the words spoken by Lord Brahma in Brahma Samhita, for example. So that's why we as a devotees, Krishna comes to demonstrate his forms, his pastimes, and to upheld the words of his devotees. So now, if you want to understand anything about the pastimes of Krishna, anything about the form of Krishna, so Brahma Samhita is a reference. So in Bhagavad Gita, it's very minutely, in very small details are given about the forms and pastimes of Krishna. But Brahma Samhita covers in actually too much detail. So from there we understand the real form of Krishna, the real pastimes of Krishna, and then that has all been actually substantiated by Krishna himself appearing on this planet and demonstrating that. So similarly, just like Krishna incarnates at the end of Dwapar Yuga, at the end of 20th millennium of this Manu, so Lord Chaitanya also incarnates in the age of Kali Yuga. Again, just like Krishna, he has external and internal regions. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya also has external reasons and internal reasons also for his appearance. So that we'll read sometime later about Lord Chaitanya's external and internal reasons. So first we see Lord Chaitanya as the incarnation of Krishna, the personality of Godhead. It describes secretly but not directly in the confidential parts of the revealed scriptures such as Upanishads, Mahabharata and Bhagavatam. The devotees of Lord Krishna are very much attracted by the Sankirtana movement of Lord Chaitanya. This avatar of the Lord does not kill the miscreants, but delivers them by his causeless mercy. Now, having understood the purpose of Krishna, why Krishna is appearing. So, how many reasons are there for Krishna's appearance? External and internal. So which is the primary reason? So what is that internal reason? Yes. Right. And to demonstrate his loving pastimes in Vrindavan with all the devotees. Now, let's see our fortune first. Now, the birth of Lord Krishna. It is said, Lord appears in one universe once in a day of Brahma. In one universe, once in a day of Brahma. So, let's now see how many years are there in a one day of Brahma. So, I didn't want to calculate here, so I have just added it here. So, there are 4 yuga cycles: Satyuga, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali Yuga. Thousands of such cycles constitute in the day and in the night. No, thousands of such cycles constitute a day of Brahma, and similarly, thousands of such cycles constitute the night of Brahma. So this is mentioned in the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So if we calculate, it's actually one day of Brahma is 4.32 billion years, and same is the night of Lord Brahma, 4.32 billion years. So Krishna appears in one universe after 8.64 billion years in one universe. That's the whole universe, not our planet Earth or not India, whole universe. Now, what is the position of our planet in the whole universe? Nil. Practically untraceable. So we cannot trace where planet Earth is in the whole universe. Now, Krishna appearing 5,000 years ago on this planet Earth, on a place which is not only 1,200 kilometers from here. Now you understand our fortune. Now this fortune will never ever happen if we even if we continue eternally in the material existence. It's unlikely that we may actually get this fortune of appearing only 5,000 years after Krishna, and that too in a place which is so close to Krishna and where the glories of Krishnas are still heard. Chances of Krishna's appearing in one universe, especially on the planet Earth, is practically nil. And especially when we are here around 5,000 years ago. So just we can understand how fortunate we are to be born in a time where the birth of Krishna is not far before us. And even more fortunate we are, the birth of Lord Chaitanya is only 500 years before us. So we can understand our great fortune. Thus, in spite of having such great fortune, Srila Prabhupada is only 50-70 years before us. So even of having such great fortune, if we don't take full advantage of this fortune and stuck here in the cycle of birth and death, then what is our hope? Then can you think that any time in the future, we think, right, okay, not I'll do it later. Maybe later I'll get some good opportunity. But if we contemplate on the opportunity to progress in Krishna consciousness that we have got now, even in terms of time that we have taken birth in this planet, only 5,000 years after Krishna, 500 years after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, only few years after Srila Prabhupada, and our circumstances, many of us kind of well placed in terms of everything. If we consider everything, this is the opportunity to take full advantage of this life and actually go back to Godhead. So let's not postpone that for next birth or next life. We don't know what will happen, right? So let's understand the great fortune of our great fortune of taking birth in this time, and then capitalize on that fortune. Because chances of his appearing on Earth next is practically nil. He has to take care of so many planets and so many universes. So now, let's see some of the important aspects of the Lord Krishna's birth in Mathura 5,000 years ago. So before Krishna appeared, we know Lord Balram also appeared. And it was a very interesting thing what happened. The Lord Balram was the seventh child of Devaki. And the Lord Balram was transferred from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini in Gokula. So the womb transfer happened. Science cannot do that today. No. The transfer of womb from one woman to another womb. Actually, we have not seen something like that happening before. So that transfer of womb happened. So we can see how scientifically advanced that civilization was. Womb transfer can happen. So the Lord Balram was transferred from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini, and then he appeared as Lord Balram. And here it was told that the seventh son was a miscarriage. Basically Yogmaya appeared. I don't fully remember. Yeah, it was a miscarriage. Now we see how Lord Krishna himself appeared. So did he appear from the womb of Devaki? That's the first question, like a common baby. So this is actually what shows. After this arrangement, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna entered within the mind of Vasudeva with all potencies. It is understood in this connection that the Lord Krishna first of all situated himself in the unalloyed heart of Vasudeva and was then transferred to the heart of Devaki. He was not put into the womb of Devaki by seminal discharge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by his inconceivable potency, can appear in any way. It is not necessary for him to appear in the ordinary way by seminal injection within the womb of a woman. So this is a very important point about the Krishna's appearance. We saw Janma Karma Chame Divyam, right? Janma Chame Divyam, transcendental birth of the Lord. So we have to understand how birth of Krishna is also different from our birth. Birth of a common conditioned soul. Here we see in this particular case, the Lord Krishna did not took birth just like a regular boy from the womb of a Devaki by seminal discharge of Vasudeva. That's not how he took his birth. He came into the mind of Vasudeva. He appeared in the mind of Vasudeva. From there, he went to the heart of Vasudeva. From the heart of the Vasudeva, he went to the heart of Devaki. And they can realize that the Krishna has come. The Krishna has appeared. So this is the uncommon birth of Krishna. He doesn't have to take his birth from the womb of the Devaki. And similarly, to produce a child also, Krishna does not need the help of a woman. We see Lord Brahma took birth from the lotus navel of Lord Vishnu. So Lord Vishnu did not need a woman to produce Lord Brahma. So these are all uncommon activities in birth of Krishna. But here we see that Krishna did not took his birth in a natural way like we take birth. He just appeared in the hearts of the Vasudeva and Devaki, and that's how he appeared. So we see Lord's appearance is not material. The Lord's appearance or birth is not like that of an ordinary man who is forced to accept a material body according to his past deeds. He appears out of his own sweet pleasure. This is an important point to understand. Krishna does not appear by somebody's dictation, like or nor under the control of Maya. Like we appear because of our fruitive activities. And we will die, and then we will take birth according to our karma. Krishna is beyond that. So Krishna's appearance is not like an ordinary man. He appears out of his own sweet pleasure. Whenever Krishna wants to appear, or wherever Krishna wants to appear, he will appear. Nobody can dictate the appearance of Krishna. So this is also an uncommon thing we have to understand about Krishna's appearance. Nobody can dictate. Yeah, he can come out of the request of his devotees, but he cannot be forced to take birth under the control of Maya, like we. So if he decides, say for example, if Krishna decides to take his appearance now, right here, right now, he can come. It's not that he can say, no, I do yuge, I will come. No. He can choose to come whenever and wherever he likes. He's completely Swarat, completely independent. He is not in anybody's control. He can choose what he wants to do. And also we see astrologically, also at the time it was a very, very auspicious time it happened. So, and it is confirmed that the child born at that auspicious moment was the Supreme Brahman or the Absolute Truth. So we'll not see all the directions. Now, another uncommon thing. So we see when Krishna was born, he was not born like a naked boy in the hand. Vasudeva saw the wonderful child born as a baby with 4 hands, holding conch shell, club, disc and lotus flower, decorated with a mark of Srivatsa, wearing the jeweled necklace of Kaustuba stone, dressed in yellow silk, appearing dazzling like a bright blackish cloud, wearing a helmet bedecked with the Vaidurya stone, valuable bracelets, earrings and similar other ornaments all over his body, and beautified by an abundance of hair on his head, fully equipped with all the signs of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, how can a newborn child be so decorated? Is it possible? Have you ever seen a newborn child so decorated like Krishna's decoration when he appeared? It's not possible, right? So that's how we understand his birth is uncommon. So then at the request of Devaki, he transforms himself into a very common child. But that's how he initially appears. He appeared in his full opulence. The Krishna appeared. Now, this appearance is actually very, very important. See, because non-devotees, they don't have the realization of the transcendental nature of the body of Krishna. So we have to understand Krishna's body is not like our body. Our body is material. Our body is Krishna's body is Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Sat means eternal. Chit means full of knowledge. Anand means full of pleasure. And our body is Asat, Achit, Anananda. Asat means temporary. We all know it's temporary. Achit, zero knowledge. No Ananda. Practically no Ananda, right? So we can see there is a difference between Krishna's body and our body. So, and this knowledge is Srila Prabhupada has tried to convince us about this simple factor that Krishna's body is not like our body in so many places in his purports. Just this understanding that Krishna's body is different from our body, Krishna's body is transcendental, is sufficient to take us back to Godhead. But if we don't practice the principles of devotional service, that realization won't come. We will think Krishna is like us only. Krishna's body is like our body only. And we see there are many uncommon things about Krishna's birth, right? You see, Krishna took his birth, he grew young, slightly old, and then he became a teenage. But there is no record of Krishna anywhere that Krishna became an old person. There is no record in any scripture. Because it actually, after reaching a Kishora age, Krishna did not become old after that, as per the material calculation. So though in the battle of Kurukshetra, at the time, Krishna was around more than 100 years of age as per our calculation, but he had so many grandsons and sons of the grandsons, but he appeared a youth, blossoming youth, which is not possible for anybody. So Krishna, to have a particular pastime, reached a particular age, but after that he did not grow old. So that is another uncommon thing about Krishna's appearance. So but this knowledge about this uncommon, about the transcendental nature of body of Krishna, that Krishna's body is, though he appears in the human form, Krishna's body is not like my body. Krishna's body is transcendental. So that realization is not an easy realization. So it comes after a very sincere practice of devotional service. We actually get this relation. But at least by reading from Srila Prabhupada books, we need to have this understanding. So nobody can actually confuse us or bewilder us about this matter. Because Mayavadi says, when Krishna comes, he takes the material form. So that is an offense they create, and that's the reason they are eternally condemned to stay as demons in this material world. So, but just this understanding that Krishna's body is not like our body, Krishna's body is transcendental, it actually takes us, it is sufficient to take us back to God. And we see again in Brahma Samhita, Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhaktau Govindam Adi Purusham Tamam Bhajami. So here the second line was that Navayovanam Cha. Adyam is original, Purana Purusham, original person, Navayovanam Cha. He is fresh like a blossoming youth. Even though Krishna is the oldest personality existing, but he's fresh like a blossoming youth. So that knowledge we get from Brahma Samhita. So Krishna is not an old person or a middle-aged man. He's a fresh like a blossoming youth, like a 16 to 20-year-old boy. So that is the real form of Krishna. And also we see in the Brahma Samhita itself, Krishna's any sense can do activity for any other sense. So it's just like, right, we offer bhoga to Krishna on the altar, right? Then just by Krishna looking into that bhoga is as good as Krishna's eating that bhoga personally. So just like we have to eat from our mouth, we have to walk through our legs, we have to see from our eyes. So this conditioning, these restrictions of the body does not apply for Krishna. He can eat from his eyes, he can see from his mouth, he can walk with his ears, he can do anything from any of his senses. So that's why we say Krishna is an absolute truth. So Krishna is not restricted by anything, like we are restricted. If our eyes are gone, we are blind. So, but this is not applied to Krishna. So just by looking into the bhoga, if we offer with sincere love and devotion to Krishna, so just by Krishna's looking into that bhoga is as good as Krishna's eating the bhoga personally. So there is no difference. So just by just by seeing, he can extend his hand and accept the offering. So he doesn't have to physically extend the hand. All his parts are interchangeable, Krishna's parts. So this understanding is also there in Brahma Samhita. So to understand the true realization of Krishna's form and activities, we can just understand Brahma Samhita. It gives all details. Now Krishna himself talks about his transcendental nature of his appearance in actually Bhagavad Gita itself 4.6. Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam ishwaropi san prakritim swam adhishtaya sambhavam atma mayaya. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. That's what Prabhupada actually translates. Sambhavami atma mayaya. Atma mayaya and prakritim swam. So if we read the purport, the Srila Prabhupada says prakritim swam means my own energy. I come in my own my original prakriti. I don't have to take anybody's help to incarnate. That's what Krishna is trying to say. I don't need anybody's help. I will incarnate by my own energy in my original form. So that's and Atma Maya Krishna, Prabhupada says in the purport, it means a mercy of Krishna. Because unless Krishna comes in his original form, by his own mercy, nobody will be able to understand his form and everybody will be speculating. That's what we discussed before. Yes. Prabhu, you want to say something? So the Lord says that he appears in his own body. He does not change his body as a common living entity changes from one body to another. And this example, again, we saw in Bhagavad Gita 4.5, where Krishna says to Arjuna that many births have passed, which I remember, Arjuna, but you don't remember. So this is 4.5. So you see these 3-4 verses in this chapter of Bhagavad Gita. You start from 4.1 up to 4.8. It actually summarizes completely about the transcendental appearance of Lord Krishna and his transcendental nature of his activities. So Krishna says in 4.5 that many births have passed, which I remember, but you do not remember, Arjuna. See, we cannot even remember what we have done yesterday at this point of time. Can anybody say what you were doing yesterday exactly at this point of time, other than hearing Bhagavatam class? So that's the transcendental, right? So you're hearing Bhagavatam class, huh? Yes or no? Yes, right? So that's the transcendental. But if you ask any people, any karmi, nobody will be able to say what I was doing. We just forget about one day. So just in the evening, I cannot say what I was doing in morning, actually. Exactly at same time. So I say, Prabhuji, what you were doing at 6:42 p.m. or a.m., 6:42 a.m. exactly. But Krishna says, I remember what I have done many millions of years ago, but you don't remember. So this is another uncommon thing about Krishna's body. See, if Krishna were to accept a body like us, then Krishna will also forget. Because that's the nature of this material body. So changing a body causes forgetfulness. Because Krishna, his body is transcendental, he does not change his original body. So we say such chit means full of knowledge. So that knowledge which cannot be taken away from Krishna. So that is another difference between our body and Krishna's body. Krishna is full of knowledge. So he know exactly what he has done many millions of years before. What we cannot even remember. Actually, what we did, say 12 hours before. So this is another difference between Krishna's body and our body. So I request you to please read those 4.1 to 4.9 in Bhagavad Gita along with purports. All the mystery of Krishna's appearance, all the mystery of Krishna's body, all the mystery of Krishna's form is mentioned in those 9 verses of Bhagavad Gita. And actually, so there are many verses in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and other scriptures where Krishna says that Krishna does not have to take help of the material energy, or he does not come under the control of the material energy like we do. See, when we say conditioned soul, right? You read this word again and again almost in every purport of Srila Prabhupada, conditioned soul. So what do you mean by conditioned soul? Can anybody give an example? What do you mean by conditioned soul? Simple example which everybody can understand. What do we actually mean by conditioned living entity? Yes.
If I don't eat, then
yes. Yes. So that is an example. Conditioned by forced by the laws of nature. Take an example, dog, for example. Now, dog can act only in a particular way. Dog cannot act like a human. Even though the spirit soul is the same, soul in the dog and soul in the human is same. But because the dog is completely under the control of the laws of nature, he has to act in that mentality only. He cannot act otherwise. A pig has to eat stool. There is no option. If a pig, right, you give a gulab jamun in one plate and stool in another plate, he will eat stool only. So because the pig is completely under the control of the laws of nature. Similarly, human beings, we are completely under the control of laws. So we saw an example of dog and hog, right? From that we can understand, right? Say the tiger, for example. So tiger cannot eat grass. And now these days they sometimes eat grass also because no food available. So, but that is the nature of tiger is to eat flesh. And though the spirit soul is the same, but because they are completely under the control of the laws, they cannot act otherwise. So this is how we understand conditioned living entity. So even if it is difficult to understand from example of a human, it's easy to understand from an example of an animal. We can see how helpless the animals are. They can only act, a cat cannot act like a dog. A dog cannot act like a human. Mouse has to act like a mouse only. Monkey has to act like a monkey only. So we see completely under the grip of the nature. So this is what is called as a conditioned living entity. Now again in Brahma Samhita, we see the material nature is actually subservient to Krishna. Just like we are under the control of material nature, but Krishna is the controller of the material nature. We are controlled by material nature, but Krishna is a controller of the material nature. So in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says in 9th chapter, Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sa Characharam Hetunanena Kaunteya Jagat Vipari Vartate. Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti. Maya Adhyakshena. Under my order, the material nature creates everything. Krishna says under my order. And also Krishna says in 7th chapter verse 15, he says, Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratteya Mameviya Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. Krishna says the material energy is divine. But if you surrender into me, you will cross over the material energy. Now you see, somebody who is controlled by the material energy cannot make these statements. If by surrendering to Krishna, we can cross the material energy, so it's obvious that the Krishna is at a higher position than material energy. Otherwise, how can by assuming Krishna also comes under the control of material nature, then Krishna wouldn't have told that by surrendering into me, you can go beyond material nature. So that Krishna wouldn't have told. And Krishna said, Maya Dakshin, under my supervision. So in Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna says, I am the controller of this material energy. Material energy acts under my control. I don't act under the control of material energy. So this is another important difference between us and Krishna. So it means that when Krishna comes, though he appears like a human being taking birth, he appears like an ordinary person. He appears like an ordinary king in Dwarka, but he is a controller of the material energy. He is just depicting those pastimes. And here again in Brahma Samhita we see, now what is the position of the material energy? He says, Shushti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Reka Chayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Biparti Durga. Chayeva Yasya. The material energy, Durga Devi is a shadow of Krishna. If Krishna says do this, Durga Devi will do that. Krishna says do that, just like a shadow moves, right? We move, the shadow will move. So that is the position of material nature. Material energy is a shadow of Krishna. Material nature cannot act independently of Krishna. Ichhana rupam api yasya cha cheshtate sa. Ichhana rupa means she acts under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. So this is the point we have to understand. This is a very important point, that Krishna is a fully independent personality of Godhead. Krishna doesn't need anybody's help to take incarnation or to do his activities, especially the material nature. Krishna is a controller of the material energy, and we are controlled by the material energy, and we saw the example of dogs and hogs. How are we controlled by activity? If unfortunately we become a dog in the next birth, so that's the position. I cannot go beyond that laws of nature. But Krishna, we see Matsya incarnation, for example, Varaha incarnation. We see Krishna appeared in the animal form, but he was the same Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. We see Varaha incarnation, right? Varaha incarnation is a hog incarnation. Krishna appearing as a hog. Krishna appeared as a hog in Varaha incarnation, but that did not mean that Krishna became hog. Krishna appeared in the body of hog for a specific purpose, but he was complete Supreme Personality of Godhead in that body of hog also. So it does not that Krishna came as Matsya incarnation, so Krishna became fish. Krishna appeared as fish, but he was a fully Supreme Personality of Godhead with all six opulences. So this we have to understand. When Krishna appears in an animal body, Krishna stays Krishna. But if we go down in an animal body, we become animal. So this is a point we have to understand about the birth of Krishna, that it's an uncommon appearance, and the body of Krishna is also not like our body. So this is a very, very important point which Prabhupada emphasizes many places in the purport, that if we start considering Krishna's body like our body, then we won't be able to actually progress in devotional service. But this realization we'll get after practice. Though understanding we'll get now, which is very important to have, but actual realization that Krishna's body is not like my body, this will get later. So now I think we are almost finished. Now the question arises, so how to actually then understand the transcendental nature of Krishna, how to understand the transcendental activities of Krishna and transcendental birth of Krishna? How actually? We have understood in theory now. We have to understand that Krishna's body is transcendental, Krishna's appearance is transcendental, and the reasons for Krishna's appearance, and how Krishna is not like us. Now, how to actually get that realization? See, theory is something different. Gyan and Vigyan, right? If something is in knowledge, in theory, if the knowledge does not become a realized knowledge, so there is a risk of it going away. So knowledge has to become a realized knowledge also. We need to realize these points, that just like Lord Brahma has realized. So it's actually said in the Nectar of Devotion, Atah Shri Krishna Namadi Nam Aved Grahyam Indriyahi Sevonmukhehi Jivadav Swayam Ev Sprutyata. So the secret is mentioned here, that how we can also understand the transcendental nature of birth and activities of Krishna. Now the first point here says, no one can understand the transcendental nature of name, form, quality and pastimes of through Sri Krishna through his materially contaminated senses. So if and only when one becomes spiritually saturated by transcendental service to the Lord are the transcendental name, form, quality and pastimes of the Lord revealed to him. So you see, by following the process of Bhakti Yoga, by engaging in the devotional service of Krishna, the Nam, Roop, Gun and Leela. There are 4 items. Nam means name, holy name, Roop means form, Gun is quality, and Leela is pastimes. all these 4 items will be revealed in full to us just by engaging sincerely, without hypocrisy, without duplicity, in the transcendental service of Krishna. Say, I'm chanting my round sincerely, I'm following all my regulation principles sincerely. See, we don't want to become Kali Chela, right? Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I don't want to become a Kali Chela, like I'm wearing a neck bead and wearing a kanti mala, but I'm keeping so many women with me. So I don't want to become a Kali Chela devotee like that. I want to become we may not become an exalted devotees, but if we become a sincere devotee, that's the first qualification. Sincerity is the first qualification. See, we may have so many anarthas with us in our heart, so many problems, but if we have a sincere desire to progress in devotional service and sincerely engaging in devotional service, then that's a very, very big step. That's what the Krishna will notice. Sincerity. Sincerity is the key to success. So here it is said, if we can just sincerely chant our japa, if we are sincerely following the 4 regulative principles which Srila Prabhupada has given us, if we are sincerely trying to progress in Krishna consciousness, then Nam, Roop, Gun and Leela, name Krishna's form, eternal form, face to, just like I am seeing you, you are seeing me, we can see Krishna face to face, eye to eye, not in the mind, not like a yogi. We can see Krishna face to face, eye to eye, standing before us here, like this. So that is the meaning of a revelation of form. अपन बोलते हैं ना कि दर्शन हुआ क्या, Lord's darshan. That's actually reality. It's not that the Lord's darshan is not in the mind alone. Lord's darshan is not in the heart alone. Lord's darshan is face to face, eye to eye, just like I am seeing you, you are seeing me. So that is the Lord's darshan. Just by process given to us by Srila Prabhupada, we can actually go to that platform of having Lord's darshan, face to face, eye to eye. So in this regard, and now, so the only thing we have to do is, please don't be duplicitous. Don't be hypocrite. I have not become a great devotee. Right? Don't become a hypocrite. Stay meek and humble. If we are not meek and humble, so we cannot find shelter in the lotus feet of Krishna. Amanitvam. So if you read in Bhagavad Gita 13 chapter verse 8, the qualities of the process of knowledge, the first is amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, shanti, arjavam. Amanitvam, humility, adambitam, pridelessness. It starts with all humility. It's not important to become an exalted and great devotee. Just meek and humble devotee, respecting all the Vaishnavas, giving all the respect to others. Dronadapi sunichina, tarorapi saishtuna, amanina manadina kirtaniya sadahari. So just in this mood of humility, explained to us by Lord Chaitanya, sincerely practicing our Krishna consciousness, without any cheating mentality, without any duplicitousness, then we can actually reach that platform of seeing Krishna face to face, eye to eye. So this is an important point to understand from today's class. And there is one more thing I wanted to say, but I think we don't have time. Now actually, now Janmashtami is coming, right? So we all are celebrating the appearance of Lord Krishna. So when will be the real Janmashtami? So can anybody tell when will we celebrate the real Janmashtami? Janmashtami is appearance of Lord Krishna. So when will be that real celebration? Anything? 10?
19.
No, I understand. That's the 19th of August is Janmashtami. But when will be the real Janmashtami? Yes. See, Janmashtami is appearance of Lord Krishna. So let us become so spot clean and pure devotees. Our hearts are so spotlessly pure that Krishna may want to appear in our heart. That appearance is the real Janmashtami celebration. You understand? We want to make our hearts so spotlessly clean by practicing Krishna consciousness that Krishna will say, yeah, I will appear in the heart of this devotee. Now that appearance is Janmashtami. If by Krishna's grace we get that position, so then that is the real Janmashtami celebration for us. The 19th August is a celebration, but that will be the real celebration. So we should be striving for the real Janmashtami, appearance of Lord Krishna within our hearts. And obviously our hearts are very contaminated at the moment, so we cannot invite Krishna. So let us all have that determination to just make our heart spotlessly clean, that Krishna may want to appear within our heart. And that's also actually there in Brahma Samhita. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa sadeva hridayeshu vilokayanti yam shyama sundaram achintya guna surupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Premanjana charita bhakti vilochana. So this translation, homework, so you all can read this translation. So how we can actually invite Krishna in the heart. So this is the true meaning of Janmashtami, that we want to become so pure devotees that we can invite Lord Krishna in our heart, and then we can broadcast the message of Krishna throughout the whole world. So that the last time also said, Bahe Narsimha, Hridaye Narsimha. We chant every time, right? So let's have Hridaye Narsimha, and once the Narsimha comes Hridaye, we can do Bahe Narsimha. We can make whole world Krishna conscious, but starts from our heart. If our heart is not Krishna conscious, our influence to make world Krishna conscious will be very negligible. We see in the life of Prabhupada how successful he is. Just Krishna consciousness is expanding everywhere because there is a Krishna in his heart. So he can expand Krishna. If Krishna is within my heart, I can expand Krishna outside also. Bahe Narsimha, Hridaye Narsimha. So that's actually some and substance of our Krishna consciousness movement. So thank you very much for sitting for so long time and hearing this class. If you have any questions, we can take 1 or 2 questions. So, or else we can end the class. Yes, Prabhuji.
So thank you, Prabhuji, for this class. Very interesting insights from it. Prabhuji, given this first point which you said, that for loving exchanges, that also can be seen as creating a platform. You mentioned it in the lecture. It can also be seen as creating, establishing bhakti for the times to come. So in that sense, it's still the third point, that establishing the principles of bhakti for the times to come, right?
Yes, that's true. See, establishing the principles of bhakti, establish the principles of religion. See, love of God, Krishna Prem is not outside of religion. See, even if we see Chaitanya Charitamrita, for example, it teaches us the highest level of love of Krishna. The Chaitanya Charitamrita teaches that. So that is not actually outside the principles of religion. But the main purpose of Krishna is to demonstrate that. Oh, this is the highest principle. Just hear about this, become attracted and try to follow it. So that is the main purpose. Though, even though at a high level you can say it comes under the category of religion, but that loving exchange is actually, we can say it's actually much more beyond that. So that's a true exchange of Krishna with his devotees that Krishna want to actually highlight. And when we talk about the religious principles, so surrender to Krishna is the beginning of Krishna consciousness. And that surrender takes us to the point of love of Krishna, and that eventually will take us to the point of perfection of that love of Krishna. So that demonstration of love of Krishna, a demonstration of that loving exchanges of Krishna with his devotees in Vrindavan, for example, to attract us to that platform is actually the primary purpose. And but in a higher level, that's also under the category of religion. So it's not just something irreligious thing. So that's also within religion, but in an overall sense, it can be said to be a very, very high principle of religion.
Thank you so much for the wonderful.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, my question is that in order to surrender to Krishna, we have to 24/7 remember Krishna.
Yes.
How we can 24/7 remember Krishna 7 days a week?
Yes. Okay. That's a very good point. So Krishna says, Satatam kirtayanto mam ye jana paripasate tesham nityabhiktanam yogakshemam mayam. Satatam. If you see in Bhagavad Gita, the word Satatam is there constantly, is there in many places in Bhagavad Gita. And Chaturshloki also we say, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. Satatam again. So how to be constantly engaged in devotional service of Krishna? So first point comes surrender into Krishna. You're talking, right? See, we cannot surrender to Krishna directly. We have to surrender to the representative of Krishna. Right? So that's why, so we know Yasya Prasada Bhagavad Prasad. So I cannot jump over a spiritual master and surrender to Krishna. That is not possible. Krishna also says in Adi Puran to Arjuna those who are my devotees are not my devotees, but those who are devotees of my devotees are my devotees. So that's the first point in Krishna consciousness is we have to accept a shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. So that acceptance of shelter is actually first stage of surrender. And then we have to actually engage in the activities of devotional service as per the instructions given to us by spiritual master. Now coming to your point of 24/7 absorption, it's actually not difficult. It needs practice, though I am saying, but I am also not on that platform, Prabhuji. So see, most of us are householders. They are working in the office, right? But if by working in the office, we can engage in the service of Krishna, if we can engage the results of our work in the service of Krishna, so that working in office is also categorized under the category of devotional service. So basically, it all depends. The activity that we are doing at any point of day, is it for my own pleasure or it's for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna? So that we have to become to become our own psychiatrist, basically. So if any activity throughout the day which we are doing for the pleasure of Krishna, the Guru and Krishna, that is a devotional service, even if that is working in the office or working in the home. If, for example, I have to raise my kids, I have to clean the house, I have to cook the bhoga, all those things. All these activities are not outside of devotional service. But if any activity which I am doing for my own sense enjoyment, that activity goes outside of devotional service. So it is not difficult to mold our day in such a way that any activity which I will be doing, it will be some way or other related to Krishna consciousness. My working in office is related to Krishna consciousness. If I'm commuting by bus, for example, and it's taking 1 hour, 1.5 hours, at that time I can hear Srila Prabhupada lecture or I can read Bhagavad Gita. Practically any point of day, we can actually engage in Krishna consciousness. And maintaining our body is also within the category of Krishna consciousness. For example, we can say, what about sleep then, right? I am sleeping 6-7 hours a day. How my sleep is in Krishna consciousness. But the problem is, two things happen. If we are engaged in Krishna consciousness activities throughout the day, then it's quite natural to have dreams of Krishna consciousness also. So that is a test actually. If in the dream we are getting Krishna conscious dreams, so it means that we nicely engage, we are nicely engaging in the day in Krishna consciousness. But if the dreams we are getting mundane dreams, then it means there is some problem. We have to rectify that problem. So dreams are actually a test to tell us whether we are Krishna conscious in the day or not. And also by sleeping, we are giving rest to the body. So next day we can engage in Krishna consciousness again. So if you see the whole, it's very easy to understand, Prabhuji. If we can see any activity that I'm engaging, if it's somehow or other related to the service of Krishna, even though it's not direct devotional service like chanting or reading, like working in office, for example, we give, because with that earnings, if we can support the Krishna consciousness movement, then that activity also comes under Krishna consciousness. So practically we only have to analyze ourselves whether activity that I'm doing is for my own enjoyment or for enjoyment of Guru and Krishna. So that way we can actually easily mold our day in such a way that we can at least try to be engaged in Krishna consciousness 24/7. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, dear friends. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Krishna. So first of all, we'd like to thank Amal Puran Prabhuji for such a nice, very philosophical, very systematic, very deep class. By chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. So next on the list is appearance, which is on 19th, yes, because there was some confusion when the appearance is. So yeah, it is on 19th, and we are all preparing for the appearance of Krishna. While Krishna does appear every day in our heart. So we like to encourage those devotees who have not yet given their names for volunteering in Janmashtami Seva. They can give their names to us, and we will give them opportunity that they will be able to participate in some services. The most important services for now is there are two important services, which is inviting guests to come and celebrate appearance of Krishna. So for that, what are we doing is we are going on the streets almost on a daily basis. We are going house to house, inviting them that please come and celebrate Krishna's appearance and purify your life. So we need volunteers who would like to come along to invite everyone. Right. Second thing is when we are celebrating, what do we need? Lakshmi. We need Lakshmi for Lakshmipati. Yes, we do need. We do need Lakshmi. So we have like we are celebrating Janmashtami at 7 different places, right? And this is a huge endeavor. Like when we even tell very senior devotees that we are doing this, we are celebrating it at 7 different places. They say, "Wow, is it?" Yes, we are, and we have a huge budget. We have a budget of 60 lakh rupees. We need to celebrate. But I understand, like we are always told as leaders that your target, your goal should be SMART goals. Something A in SMART is achievable. So whatever is your bandwidth, you can contribute that, right? It is not that you only have to every drop of water in the ocean counts. So whatever you can get, please come forward and donate. That will help. And you can also go out to collect donations from your colleagues, from your corporate colleagues, from your friends, shop to shop also. So, even if you cannot contribute huge sum, you can help us by collecting. So we have receipt books. And nowadays, post demonetization era, it's almost online. So we can give you links. You can take them and, help us get donations. So thank you. Just want to check who has come here for the first time to this center. So we like to invite you. Wow, we have good number. So just before Janmashtami, that's good. And you can not only come here for the first time, but keep coming and help us doing some services. Yeah, I like to invite maybe Sarvanath Prabhu, if you can please hand over the gifts to them. Yeah. So you can all please come here. We have a small gift for you. So you can come. Yeah, you can name yourselves. Siddharthi. And many of you are devotees already practicing Krishna consciousness. Good to see. Yeah. So I think so. We need one more book. Yeah. So, okay. You can please sit down. Yeah. It's there. Oh, there are two of them. So thanks all of you. Now we'll have Narsimha Aarti. So you all can face towards the altar. Who would like to sing Aarti?
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. भगवान की, भक्ति शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की, जगत गुरु पतित पावन श्री प्रभुपाद की।
Hare Krishna. Just one small announcement. So, as Shiva Prabhu